Good morning, students. I'm Dr. Elka Singh from Faculty of Commerce and Economics, Shri Ram Swarup Memorial University. Welcome to my class, Capital Gain. Today, I'm going to take a introduction part of the capital gain, that is basis of charges and definitions. When we talk about capital gain, our basis of charge or chargeability we say that comes under section 45(1), which means the basis of charges is profit and gains arising from the transfer of the capital asset in the previous year, which means that during the previous year between 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020, we are talking as previous year. This previous year, whatever profit and gain arises during the transfer of asset, that means you have sold it out. While keeping it, we are not talking about the capital gain, but when you sold it out, that means you have definitely gained something from that asset. And that should be between the previous year. This is the definition describes. It contains three essential parts, that is capital asset. Second is transfer of capital asset. Without transfer, there is nothing called capital gain. So there should be capital asset, transfer of capital asset, and third is computation of capital gain. So today we are going to tell you about the definition, and definition is very, very important, because if you are not clear with the definition, you won't be able to tell how this capital gain should be calculated. So here definition is described under section 214. Definition says that capital asset means property of any kind. Any kind means it can be your jewelry, it can be your house, it can be your shares, debentures, old property, this each and everything. You can see any security held by the investors. It can be foreign investors, Indian investors. Thirdly, movable or immovable. Movable means capital gains includes movable property as well as immovable property, like building, plants, machinery. These also comes under this. Beside, it is not a part of PGBP head. Tangible, intangible. Tangible means anything which you can see and which has some specific feature. Intangible means your goodwill, copyrights, patent, etc. can come in the intangible. Fixed or floating, both. Whether it is fixed, like it is a building, or it is a floating, means anything which can be moved from this place to other place. Anything can come in the capital gain. When we talk about urban agricultural land, why I have used this term? Because in India, agricultural land is basically tax-free, exempted, or we can say under section 10. But here I have intentionally mentioned urban word, because here I am going to explain you why this urban agriculture is included as your capital gain. This is very much your capital asset or capital gain. If you will sell your, you're going to sell your property, whatever benefit or profit you will get from the urban agricultural land, it is very much taxable. Archaeological collection, in case you have anything antique or some sculpture, or you have painting or drawings, or whatever jewelry, precious stones, or we can say utensils, silver utensils, or you have sari with the gold thread carving, anything which has, basically if you see, we can say that anything which has appreciation or which has providing you profit while selling is come under the capital gain. But there are exceptions. Now we are going to discuss about the exceptions, there are 5 type of exception which does not come under the capital gain. First is personal effects. Personal effects includes your personal apparel, your car or something, bed, sofa, furniture, which is prohibited from this particular source of income, because when you use something, like I have purchased this kurta for 1000 rupees, but when I am going to sell it off, this is used one, nobody will give me more than 200, and that will be also not given to me. That means that income what I have spent on purchasing this kurta is depreciated. So that is why anything personal effect will not come under this capital gain. Secondly, agricultural land. There is a very specific definition of agricultural land, that is municipality or cantonment board. As we all know, in every city there is a cantonment board or municipality area or municipal corporation which defines this limit. Any population less than 10,000, this is population, not rupee, this is population. Any city which is having population less than 10,000 people, from that city within the radius of 2 kilometers, if land comes under the cantonment board, it will be called as urban agricultural land. And outside this 2 kilometers, it will be considered as the agricultural land. And this limit, if your land is situated nearby the city, then you can calculate whether you, while selling this land, you have to pay capital gain or not. Same way, if the city is having population of 1 lakh, its radius is 6 kilometers, and city if having more than 10 lakh population, its radius is 8 kilometers. So this is the clear-cut demarcation that 10,000, between 10,000 to 1 lakh population, it should be 2 kilometers. 1 lakh to 10 lakh, it is 6 kilometers, and above 10 lakh, it is 8 kilometers. If any land will come inside this radius, it will be termed as the capital gain if you will sell that land. Other than that, it will be considered as the agricultural land, which is basically tax-free or exempted. Other than these two things, we have three more things, that is gold bond, which is 6.5% 1977, 7% 1980. This bond again you will purchase, it will be considered as exempted. Gold deposit bond, again it is exempted. Then when we talk about special bearer bonds 1991, it also comes under the exemption. That is why these 5 things are exceptions which will not be included in the capital gain. Other than everything will become under the capital asset. Hope you understood. Thank you so much.